Well, you're right on time for breaking today. Good evening from where you're watching us from. My name is Joel Church and our sign language interpreter is Tracy Dorcas. We have a lot in line for you and these are our top stories. President Uhuru Kenyatta leads the country in mourning businessman Kirubi. Governors are threatened to shut down counties from next week due to lack of funds to run operations. Kenya's COVID-19 positivity rate now at 9.4% after 344 new COVID-19 cases were reported in the last 24 hours. Well, talk to us via social media platforms as Switch TV Kenya, Joel Chacha M on Twitter, as well on Facebook, Switch TV Kenya and Joel Chacha. Send in an SMS via 111 444 111. We begin. A billionaire and entrepreneur Kirubi has died at the age of 80 years after a long illness, according to family. Kirubi passed away at 1 p.m. today following a long battle with cancer. The Kenyan entrepreneur was diagnosed with cancer since 2016 and is said to have passed on at his home surrounded by his family. Saza Munga has more. I'm told, of course, other stories being prepared, and in a short while you'll be getting it from Saza Munga. Moving on, President Uhuru Kenyatta has today said that he has managed to do more in his second term than he managed to do in his first term, attributing these to the level of peace and unity that the country has continued to experience since realization of the handshake. President Kenyatta was speaking at State House, Nairobi, when he hosted a delegation of political leaders from lower eastern counties of Kitui, Machakos and Makueni to discuss the region's development.
How wonderful it is, to see my brother Stephen being flanked by Chap Chap and Nak. It's beautiful. Huh? Because I will assure you, there is no way a country can move forward if leaders are not together. I have done much more than I was able to do even in my first term. Why? Because I have been able to focus myself, working in conjunction with my colleagues, and being able to focus on the development agenda, not the political agenda. It is not about where you are. It is about where we are. And the minute you start talking we, that is the basis of success today and into the future. So please, just as we are here today as we are not here, sijui chap chap anakuja hapa kulia, sijui waipa wamefanya nini, na hako hapa kusema sijui hawa mko hapa kwa sababu ya maendeleo ya wananchi wa region ya Ukambani.
Meanwhile, the Council of Governors has threatened to shut down counties from 24th June 2021 due to lack of funds to run operations. This is after the Treasury has delayed to release 100.6 billion Kenya shillings to the 47 counties with only 2 weeks left to the end of the financial year. David Kagina with more.
All the 47 counties are staring at a total shutdown in what the Council of Governors says is lack of funds that has since crippled the operations and delivery of critical services to Kenyans.
Hatuna pesa ya kulipa mishahara. Hatuna pesa ya kulipa deductions, statutory deductions. Hatuna pesa ya kununua dawa. Tunapembeleza KEMSA watukopeshe dawa na ni struggle. Tulikuwa forced kuweka ile inaitwa schedule of payment ndivyo tupate dawa.
To demonstrate how serious the issue has been, they say Nairobi County has not been receiving cash from the Treasury for 6 months now, a situation that has made it impossible to pay salaries to county workers, among other accrued pending bills.
Treasury has not only failed to comply with the Constitution, but even with its own document, which is the cash disbursement schedule of 2020. They are not following it. These are seen counties stigmatized for failing to offer critical services, and especially now in the face of COVID-19 pandemic, for what is beyond them. While Kenyans continue to demand services from the county government, operations at the national government continue uninterrupted, owing to timely financing from the national treasury, while those operations in the counties are slowly grinding to a halt.
Last week, Thursday, during the reading of the budget, Treasury CS Ukuri Yatani said counties had until end of June to clear pending bills or risk not getting new funding. David Kagina, Switch TV.
A section of governors from the Mount Kenya region have dismissed reports that the region is divided. Famed for its tyranny of numbers in previous polls, they say protagonists are after dividing the region ahead of the 2022 elections in which they won't succeed. Robert Homer filed the report.
In the spirited race against time in the central Kenya region to find who should succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta after the end of his tenure, leaders allied to the president have blasted political factions already cropping in the Mount Kenya region, saying that this would weaken the numerical strength ahead of the 2022 general elections, calling for unity.
For us, we are very clear that united we stand and divided we fall. We know that we have the numbers, and obviously it's a political strategy of our protagonists to divide those numbers, but we are aware of that.
Today, a section of Council of Governors have said that the protagonists will not succeed in their plot.
I think there's a bit of freedom here. People from Mount Kenya East and people from Mount Kenya West to air their views, and I think the statement that they are making, that as many people as possible who are willing to make themselves available to run for the president in 2022 is very clear.
The coronation of the National Speaker Justin Muturi as the region spokesperson in the contested event has brought about separation in Mount Kenya region, with leaders allied to the Deputy President William Ruto saying that they are open for negotiations. Political movements are, however, on course, with different politicians from the region projecting themselves as possible successors of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Political analysts saying that the tug of war for power on the Mount needs a keen eye.
Wanazingatia maslahi ya watu wa Mlima Kenya. Unakuta kuna watu wanasema 2022 hatutaki msemaji, tunataka tu mtu ambaye ataweza kuangalia uchumi na mtu ambaye ataweza kuangalia nchi kwa ujumla.
Leaders insisting on unity of purpose to revive the torn political status in the Mount Kenya region. Robert Omar, Switch TV.
On to other news, Kisii Governor James Ongwae says he's ready to face the Senate over Auditor General queries that his county spent the COVID-19 funds without approved procurement plans, budget plans, training plans and market survey for the goods delivered.
Auditor General kama ameandika, watu huenda Senate. Si unajua hivyo? Kama Auditor General ameandika, pengine anasema kuna pesa imetumiwa, hao magavana wote huandika. Chairman wangu alikuwa huko juzi, ndugu yangu amekuwa huko. So tutaenda Senate. Wakati mtu naenda Senate, kama mimi nitaenda huko, ile mambo ambayo inatoka huko, final authority ya kusema ile mambo ambayo imeandikwa ya audit ni Senate. Sasa ukisoma ile report ya Senate ndio tunaweza kuongea.
Chapchap Party leader Dr. Alfred Mutua has called on members of the Gikuyu community to support a candidate fronted by President Uhuru Kenyatta in the forthcoming Kiambaa by-elections. Mutua says the leadership is crucial and should not be allowed to slip away from the community because of interference by people from outside the region. He adds that many parties that have launched campaigns in Kiambu are intended on scoring political wars with the president and not to benefit the locals.
Asanteni.
Najua hapa mna kura ambazo zinakuja. Mimi naomba watu wa Kiambu, pigeni kura kwa amani na mjue ya kwamba mpigie mtu ambaye ataweza kuwafanyia kazi. Na tukumbuke ya kwamba tuna rais. Mimi nimechelewa hapa leo kwa sababu tumetoka State House. Tulikuwa mkutano na Rais Uhuru Kenyatta. Na ukiangalia ile mipango na ile mambo Uhuru Kenyatta amefanya na ile anaendelea kufanya, kumekuwa na propaganda nyingi sana. Na mimi najua propaganda nilifanya kwa siasa serikali ya Kibaki wakati alikuwa anafanya kazi na anapigwa saa zote. Uhuru ametukanwa, amefanywa nini? Pengine amewakosea kidogo ama hajakosea sana. Sisi tukiwa Ukambani tunasema watu wamezoea urais. Watu wameanza kutake for granted ile kitu wako nayo. Wameanza kudharau ile wako nayo, wanabadilisha ingine.
And now Sazamunga files this story where billionaire and entrepreneur Chris Kirubi has died at the age of 80 after a long illness, according to the family. Kirubi passed away at 1 p.m. today following a long battle with cancer. The Kenyan entrepreneur was diagnosed with cancer since 2016 and is said to have passed on at his home surrounded by his family.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has mourned businessman Chris Kirubi by sending a message of condolence to the family and friends. In his message, the president said, and I quote, "I have received the shocking news of the passing away of my friend Chris Kirubi with a lot of sadness. The cruel hand of death has robbed our nation of a patriot whose entrepreneurial spirit, hard work and determination saw him create some of the country's largest enterprises which offer employment to thousands of our people." End of quote. Various leaders have also sent their messages to mourn the late Kirubi, including Deputy President William Ruto, who in his message said, and I quote, "I join Kenyans in mourning the passing of one of the country's most visible business personalities." Chris Kirubi was an irrepressible boardroom operative, media personality, developer and investor whose interests traversed multiple sectors and enterprises. ODM leader Raila Odinga has also sent his message saying, and I quote, "Chris Kirubi was my friend and one of many others, a mentor to even more. He was a dedicated entrepreneur and philanthropist who helped scores of Kenyans over time. My heartfelt condolences go to his family, friends and all those whose lives he touched. Rest in peace, Chris." End of quote. Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has also mourned the businessman saying, and I quote, "My family and I are greatly saddened on the passing of Chris Kirubi. CK was the embodiment of entrepreneurship building lasting legacies." His last tweet this morning summed up his essence. "Give yourself a go towards your essence plan." That, he said, "Rest now, my brother, CK." End of quote.
Expensive but worth it.
ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi also joined in mourning of the billionaire saying, and I quote, "My condolences go to the family of the late Chris Kirubi. He was an illustrious businessman who spoke candidly on matters of national importance and the economy. A true patriot who told you as it is without blinking. Over and above, he was witty, humorous, and an avid golfer. He was the chairman of High Court Tiger Brands Kenya Limited, Capital Media Group, International House Limited, DHL Worldwide Express Limited, Nairobi Bottlers, and Smart Applications International Limited, among others. He was also the deputy chairman of Bayer East Africa Limited, as well as director and shareholder at the Centum Investment Group. At the time of his passing, he served on the Harvard Global Advisory Council with a view of advising the institutional education matters of Africa. Dr. Kirubi leaves behind 2 children, Robert Kirubi and Marian Musangi. Details of his funeral are yet to be communicated. Sazamunga, Switch TV.
And on behalf of Switch TV, our condolences, of course, to family, friends, and business partners. And that's all for now. We're taking a short commercial break. We'll be back with more. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Breaking Today. My name is Joel Church and our sign language interpreter is Tracy Dorcas. A focus now on the COVID-19 pandemic. Kenya has today recorded a COVID-19 positivity rate of 9.4%, with 344 people having tested positive from a sample size of 3,654 tested in the last 24 hours. Total confirmed positive cases now stand at 175,681, while cumulative tests so far conducted are 1,870,479. Sheila Ngetich brings us more.
In a sample size of 3,654, Kenya has registered 344 positive cases for COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. This brings the national tally of positive cases to 175,681. Of the 344 cases, 130 cases are from Nairobi County. Kisumu County follows with 47 cases, then Uasin Gishu with 37 cases. Other counties affected are Siaya 19, Bungoma 10, Busia and Mombasa with 9, Nandi and Kakamega with 8, Kilifi with 8, Kisii and Nakuru with 6, Laikipia, Machakos and Homa Bay counties 5 cases each, Kiambu 4, Kajiado and Meru 3, Kwale, Elgeyo Marakwet, Nyandarua, Nyeri and Taita Taveta 2, Baringo, Nyamira and Bomet with 1 case each. However, 11 people succumbed to the disease in the last 24 hours, pushing the cumulative fatalities to 3,421. Hospitals continue to bear the burden of the disease, with 110 patients on supplemental oxygen, 105 patients in general wards, and 5 patients in HDU. However, on a positive note, 151 patients have recovered, bringing the total recoveries to 120,359. Sheila Ngetich, Switch TV.
Well, thank you so much, Sheila Ngetich. And news just in. Some sad news, actually, is that former Game Member of Parliament Jakoyo Midiwo is dead. A former Member of Parliament of Game, Jakoyo Midiwo, is dead. This has just been confirmed by ODM Director of Communication, Philip Etale. And the cause of the death is yet to be revealed. And Midiwo served as a Game Member of Parliament from 2007 to 2017, where he lost to current Member of Parliament Elisha Odhiambo. And the ODM party, in a statement, says it has lost a defender of the party who never shied away from speaking the truth. And then the announcement of actually Jakoyo Midiwo is just come after hours after billionaire and also industrialist Chris Kirubi, who has died at the age of 80, and just a moment of silence for the two who have passed away. Now, moving on and crossing borders, Israel Parliament approved a new coalition government yesterday that sent Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu into the opposition after a record 12 years in office and a political crisis that sparked 4 elections in 2 years. Flora Limuki with more.
Has been sworn in as the Prime Minister after a narrow 60-59 vote in the Parliament. But if he wants to keep the job, he will have to maintain an unwieldy coalition of parties from the political right, left, and center. The new government is meanwhile promising a return to normalcy after an intense 2 years that saw 4 elections, an 11-day Gaza war last month, and a coronavirus outbreak that devastated the economy before it was largely brought under control by a successful vaccination campaign. Netanyahu, who is on trial for corruption, remains the head of the largest party in parliament and is expected to vigorously oppose the new government. If just one faction bolts, it could lose its majority and would be at risk of collapse, giving him an opening to return to power. Flora Limuki, Switch TV.
To move into the
And now, focus in the world of business. Over 60,000 youths have been trained under the Ajira digital program across the country since its inception 5 years ago, enabling them to make a living by doing online jobs. Speaking during the launch of Zitech University Ajira Digital Club, the Ministry of ICT and Innovation Secretary Administration Lucy Mulili Musheru has said their online jobs have been facilitated by the ministry's resolve to connect the country to internet, noting that the country has over 8,000 1,000 kilometers of internet fiber. ZTech Vice Chancellor Professor Njenga Munene welcomed the program, saying as an institution that offers ICT course, they will ensure more students are enrolled in the program.
Recently started the program through the members of parliament, establishing constituency innovation hubs, whereby the member of parliament, they do the work of putting the structure, the equipment, the furniture, and then we come in as a ministry, we provide free internet where the youth can be trained. So they are called constituency innovation hubs, and in some constituencies there are 6, others are 4, and the youth are able to access.
Meanwhile, the government, in collaboration with the private sector, is set to introduce hybrid rice seeds for commercial production next season. African Agricultural Technology Foundation, that is AATF, announced that farmers in the country could start planting hybrid rice seeds from the next season, which will raise production and lower import bills. Speaking during a field mission at Hola Breeding Station in Tana River County, AATF project manager Dr. Sani Kayode said after years of research locally, the country is now ready to introduce the method to increase rice production for commercial purposes.
Over 25 billion Kenyan shillings was used to import rice to this country, which is a huge loss to the economy. And we are shouting of no employment, which shows the rice can be a very good commodity to enhance food security, to create employment, and to improve livelihood of farmers. That led us to encourage investors and the public sector to get involved in this.
People view cybersecurity as a hindrance or obstruction to their productivity, or simply a tool to monitor and track their digital movements and invade their privacy. Our very own Apollo James explains on how we can try to shift this paradigm by exploring the significance cybersecurity has on our lives, both at work and at home. Take a look.
Cybersecurity is a system used to characterize and collect all of the activities, policies, procedures, and tools used in concert to protect the information technology systems and data that is core to the functioning of the modern world. The protections of cybersecurity applies to physical systems, software systems, as well as the people who use them. There are multiple things that organizations can do to implement cybersecurity protections. These include having agreed policies and procedures, regular staff awareness training, deploy strong password management tools and multi-factor authentication, implement identity access management and privileged access management, encrypt data at rest and in transit over networks, install endpoint protection software and keep it up to date. Do frequent backup to secure locations and keep all IT systems, including network equipment, up to date via installation of the latest security and operating systems updates. The Insights External Threat Protect Suite enhances cybersecurity protection measures by applying threat intelligence, allowing the monitoring of multiple sources to identify threats to organizations on the clear, deep, and dark web that could indicate potential cyber attack planning or data exposure against your brand, people, or infrastructure to deliver actionable insights that can be taken to mitigate the attack and risk. Apollo James, Switch TV.
Meanwhile, Khan General has invested 393.5 million Kenya shillings in a new motorcycle helmet plant in Ruiru as it looks to grow its share of the bike accessory market in Kenya. The Nairobi Security Exchange, a listed firm which has diverse operations including property investments, poultry and a sale of motorcycles, said the plant sits on 40,000 square feet, employing about 150 workers. The plant has a capacity to produce 768,000 helmets per year, with plans to increase production to 1.2 million by 2022.